It's been a week for 2024 presidential hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy, filled with controversial comments and mudslinging from his rivals. The 38-year-old is gaining national attention by becoming a rising star within his party. But will his zinger-fueled campaign translate into success in Iowa? CNN's Kyung La is live for us in Des Moines. Kyung, you have been spending some time with the candidate as he has been making his way around Iowa this week. What is he saying?
Essentially, he's saying he has what Trump had many years ago in a raw form, carrying that Trump appeal. But what he now carries is youth. He offers diversity. And he says he's going to go even further in that MAGA style by delivering more results that he says Trump simply could not deliver. His approach to Washington, D.C. is to burn it all down. And he says it is his generation's time and his time. I want you to take a listen to what he said.
Well, I'm saying that you only get to be an outsider once, right? And Trump was that outsider in 2015. And I think that was what was fresh about Trump the first time around. And I think that's what's fresh about me this time around. You get to be an outsider once.
So he's got to peel away Trump's support, which is formidable here in Iowa. Now, post-debate, we've been following him through events. We spent all day with him, and all of his unilateral unilateral events have been packed. They are standing room only. But the reaction from the people who are listening to him have been pretty polarized. I want you to listen to what two people said to us.
I think he speaks the truth.
Are you choosing him over Trump?
Absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
I mean, the thing is, when you're the flavor of the month and you don't have a lot of background, you're kind of the new guy. No one's really asked you a lot of tough questions yet. So at some point, the other candidates will start doing that. And when they do, I think you'll see him probably start to go down in the polls.
And in his events, even, we heard questions about his foreign policy, a lot of concerns about this idea that he would give eastern Ukraine to Vladimir Putin. But he doesn't seem to be bothered by this right now, Dana. What Vivek Ramaswamy is really relishing is the fact that people know him now, that everywhere he went, his events are full. He says that this is the beginning and that he has the field game here, the ground game here in Iowa, that he can build on this momentum. And that's why he believes he could gain some traction here. Dana.
So interesting. It's great to have you out there. I love the car interview. Fantastic reporting. Thanks, Kyung. So let's talk about this right now. And I want to just start with, to add to Kyung's great reporting, something that Mike Murphy, who is a longtime Republican strategist, said. He worked for Jeb Bush in the 2016 race. He said about Ramaswamy. So he's doing MAGA unfiltered. Ultimately, he'll wind up as a MAGA profiteer somewhere down the line. He's real as a curiosity, and my view is that he peaked at the debate and will start a slow decline because he's an irritating pipsqueak. It's not really clear what he feels there.
Mike Murphy, always shy and expressing his opinions. Yeah, I mean, I do think the test for him is clear, right? It is, as Kyung was describing there, to prove himself more than just a candidate of this particular moment in the race, and one that has staying power. And his challenge, as Kyung was putting forth there, is fascinating to me because, you know, we've talked so much in this campaign season about how a lot of these candidates aren't taking on Trump directly or are fearful of offending his supporters, which are a big swath of the base of the party. For Ramaswamy, he's literally occupying the same space as Donald Trump. So his path to success goes through actually taking Donald Trump's support. And, you know, I don't know how possible that's going to be. It's one thing to be on a debate stage when Donald Trump is not there and be the fill-in and occupy that space. It'll be a whole nother thing as Donald Trump gets more engaged in this campaign going forward.
It sort of depends on whether he's really trying to be the next Republican nominee for president or whether he's trying to secure a permanent spot as an influencer in party politics and ideological politics. I think if he's trying to be the next nominee, obviously he's got Trump's 30 or 40 point lead and a number of other factors working against him. But also his anti-interventionism is probably less controversial to the GOP base on Ukraine than it will be on Israel. And you see Nikki Haley hammering there already. So I think he actually has a lot of ideological and policy challenges that if Trump wasn't sort of the cult of personality figure would be much harder for Trump to pull off within his party.
And David, you have made this point so many times, which is that, and you basically just did again now, which is that Vivek Ramaswamy right now is kind of the stand-in for Donald Trump when it comes to all of the other Republicans who are frankly too scared to go after Donald Trump. He is kind of the stand-in for those attacks.
Yeah, and look, the reason why he was elevated so much is because they focused their attacks so much on him, not Donald Trump, in the last debate. He got a lot of attention, and as a result, he rose in the polls. It's interesting to hear him try to begin some sort of contrast with Donald Trump. He said at that debate that Trump was the best president. Well, why are you running against the best president? But now talking about him being an outsider, someone that Donald Trump is not. We'll see if he needs to be a little bit more direct in his criticism in order to gain some.
Let's actually hear what the former president said about Vivek Ramaswamy.
He's starting to get out there a little bit. He's getting a little bit controversial. I got to tell him be a little bit careful because some things you have to hold in just a little bit, right? But he's got a lot of good energy, I will tell you, and he's been very nice to me.
So was that last point. Very nice to me.
And then what happens if he ever changes that tune?
A little bit controversial from somebody who knows about being a little bit controversial.
Yeah.